Hello, my name is William Kearney, and today I'm going to talk about ethical violations and board discipline. Here are some of the common reasons for the board to discipline a counselor. The state of North Carolina has several reasons, and I found the most common ethical issue associated with complaints against counselors were 1. Dual relationships, 2. Incompetence, 3. Professional misrepresentations, 4. Sexual relationships with the client, and 5. Breach of confidentiality, 6. Inappropriate fee assessments, and 7. Failure to obtain informed consent. Those were the top 7, and I'm going to talk about dual relationships. It's also known as multiple relationships, referred to as a situation in which multiple roles exist between the therapist and the client. For example, when a client is also a friend or family member, it is considered a dual relationship. Now, my personal reaction when I view these ethical issues was I wasn't really surprised with that one being number one. Most of my life, I've always been the source of advice, similar like a counselor, but unlicensed. Especially when my friends and family already know my talents in education. So my friends and family would always come to me for advice. Concerning the dual relationship, I understand the conflict of interest because it might cloud my perspective to prevent a client's wellness. However, I can see the danger concerning a sexual dual relationship, like many of the cases that I've gone over in the North Carolina online in the North Carolina case loads. The APA Code of Ethics, the ACA Code of Ethics forbids therapists from being sexually intimate with current clients due to the ethical conflict of interest. Likewise, therapists should not take on clients whom they have been intimate with in the past. The ACA does allow therapists to pursue a romantic relationship with their former client, assuming that it has been 2 years have passed since the therapy ended. Yet even this kind of relationship is still frowned upon. The major theme, from my perspective, after reading several disciplinary cases, it's like the common practices of the counselor rebellious acts toward the ACA Code of Ethics and the State Board of Rules and Regulations. The rebellious acts resulted in a probationary. It can result in a probationary period, suspension, or revocation of their livelihoods, which is their counselor license. Whether intentional or unintentional, due to the lack of knowledge, these very topics were taught as a student throughout the graduate program. So the program taught these various violations and topics so that we as counselors would not have to deal with any legal issues in our professional career. The North Carolina case I chose to discuss the following points was this was the behavior that led to the discipline by the board of a counselor. It was in 2014. The case in North Carolina, Board of Licensed Professional Counselors. It was case number 1631. The counselor provided services in North Carolina to a minor child, and it was in pursuant to a court order. The counselor provided counseling services also for the client's parents. The ethical violation was that the counselor began a romantic relationship with the client's father. And the second violation was that the counselor did not submit a written response to the complainant, even though it was sent twice via certified mail that she accepted, but then when investigated, she refused that she received same. To identify the and shared OCA Code of Ethics and the North Carolina State Code that was violated, the counselor admits that the conduct described in paragraph 2A through 2B above constituted violations of section A.5.A and A.5C of the American Counselor Association Code of Ethics 2014, the violation of North Carolina General Statutes 90-340, A9, and A15 of the North Carolina Licensed Professional Counselor Act. The outcome of the board's decision was that her license was permanently revoked. Now, what does the OCA Code of Ethics in my state say about counselor impairment? Impairment is that the OCA Code of Ethics states that Code C2.G, the counselors must be aware of the signs for impairment. They also can monitor themselves if these signs begin to arise. To refrain from counseling from impairment when impaired and seek help for these problems that reach the levels of professional impairment. In other words, the counselor is responsible for their self-awareness of impairment issues that might affect their counseling the client. The North Carolina General Code of Statutes 24, Licensed Professional Counselors Act, the board may, in accordance with the provision of chapters 150B of the general statutes, refuse to grant or renew, may suspend or revoke the license of any person's license under the articles of one or more of the following grounds: gross unprofessional conduct, dishonest practices, or incompetence in the practicing of counseling, inability of a person to perform and the functions of a licensed professional due to impairment of mental or physical faculties, that is 90-340 .3. Now the question that brings to my mind is this: if I was asked the question, how would a counselor provide wellness for him or herself to prevent or avoid burnout? Thank you. You have a blessed day.